soul inside.
What is going on, everybody out there in YouTube land as well as in the Discord? This is your Strats Weekly for the week of 8 February 2021. I am your host, Oth. I hope everybody had a good weekend. Hope everybody's doing well. Braden, how's life?
Life is a struggle, Oth. I'm not going to lie. Been having a lot of computer issues, and now I have to decide whether I keep using this server as my desktop for the next 8 months or so, or do I attempt to build a new computer now?
Yeah. I mean, if you build a new computer now, then it won't be the beautiful, all the new edition of everything.
Yeah. Well, that's my challenge, is because there are so many new things on the next generation of platform that what I'd hate to do is want to upgrade one piece of it But it's like, oh, you need the new motherboard. But guess what? The new motherboard also has the new RAM, so you need to buy that too. And also, your CPU doesn't fit in the new socket, so you need to buy a new CPU as well.
Yeah,
No upgrade path.
that's a tough one. Like it's just like it's like the worst time to be in a situation where you maybe need to build a system.
Indeed.
But then again, I mean, is it ever really a good time? It's like there's always something else coming. There's always something new and shiny around the corner. It's just like at some point you just have to be like, this is the newest and shiniest that I can stand to wait for any longer.
Or that your build just is not going to be optimal long term.
Yeah,
It's like, well, this is bad timing. It's going to cost me. Oh well.
yeah. For those tuning in, by the way, Strats Weekly is where we talk about games, things going on in the community, and whatever else anybody wants to talk about, like Bradom's unfortunate computer situation. But at least though you don't have the super old, like Windows 7 era GPU. At least you found a workable solution with that 760. Because imagine just no solution.
Yeah, really.
Then you would be looking at the oh man, I just have to like build now and trying to find, because I know you're planning to do Ryzen for your next system, like those chips still just impossible to find anywhere.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking with the GPU shortage, because I'm thinking there's no point in putting my beefy Titan in this system.
Mm-hmm.
So with the GPU shortage, it's basically a 1080 Ti. So I'm wondering if I just sell it now used and then get a new GPU with my new system when I build it.
I mean,
Yeah, I was looking, and honestly, this thing competes with like a 3060.
mm-hmm. I mean RTX notwithstanding, yeah. Although really a 3060 is not going to do RTX worth a poo anyhow. So like if people were like, oh, but it doesn't do RTX, it's like if you were looking at a 3060 or in that price range, you weren't going to be doing RTX anyways. At least not with any real quality. Like maybe you could get it good enough to do like they used to do with all the shader packs in Minecraft, where like you're getting 2 frames a second, but it's good enough for your screenshot. Like I guess if you just want to take the screenshot with RTX on.
I'm really after the DLSS. I'm not gonna lie.
Mm. Yar. Real quick, I guess I should run through a couple of the games real fast that's going on with ye olde games here in Strats. Of course, World of Warcraft Shadowlands, Nightlife and crew. Are they in here today? Yep, down there pushing keys. Oh, I didn't go all the way down, did I? Oh, this is all the way down, but you can't see it. Well, there's more people below Nightlife. Apparently I don't have the window set up to scroll or to show more. But there's more people down there with them. They're pushing keys tonight. I imagine that's typically Monday night activities. If you are looking for a group to run keys with, or if you're interested in doing raid progression, Strats is the Strats detachment in World of Warcraft is linked up with another guild, and those two guilds are us plus our members that are interested in raid progression plus that guild are pushing. Nightlife would have all the details for that, and I believe he is also streaming a lot of the WoW content over on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Stratsco. So if you are interested in World of Warcraft gameplay, that would be a good place to check out. I believe he is bear tanking right now, this expansion. I think that's what he ended up maining since they killed the other builds that he was really excited about. Other than World of Warcraft, Inquisitor Martyr, probably not going to give a whole lot more updates on Inquisitor Martyr, just because we are probably close to halfway through the season. There was a hot fix that addressed some of the issues that people have been having with multiplayer and a specific crash for free ID error, which is basically somewhere there is a track of how many different effects have been applied, and for whatever reason there's a limit on that tracking, and with specific effects it does not appear to be doing the correct kind of garbage cleanup. So a bunch of us, if the stars align in specific mission types with specific builds, we just crash, and that's it, you're done. everything explodes, your computer locks up. Well, the game locks up, and then you lose all your progress. Feels bad. They fixed it a little bit, and they were hoping they'd actually stomped it all the way out. They weren't getting any reproduction in test builds, but people are still reporting that some are experiencing the issue. But it seems to be a lot less people than were experiencing it previously. So at least there's that. There's progress being made there. Yeah, we don't know when Season 3 will be yet. We are basically in maintenance mode. But if you are interested in Martyr, we do still have... we picked a bunch of people up last week, about a half dozen more players. And they are all still playing periodically. So if you are interested in finding some people to play that with, or if you have questions, feel free to hit me up on Discord. I'm handling the Inquisitor Martyr group for us. What else we got? Eve. Oh, yeah. Vecino and Taco have been actively recruiting for Eve on pretty much every platform they can possibly recruit on. We also have allied with another set of corporations. I don't know much about it because I'm not playing Eve, but we are working towards getting some inner alliance events going, as well as the typical events that Vecino and Taco have both been hosting. Some PvE content, some wormholing, and also some of the guys are dawdling a little bit in PvP as well. But I know there's a lot of, or predominantly, the activities they've been doing have been mostly Care Bear. So if that's something you're interested in, these guys are predominantly salty veterans returning after a multi-year hiatus from the game. So there's a lot of relearning happening, but there's also a good knowledge base there. So we've got several new recruits that are either the same kind of thing, used to play, deciding to get back into it, need to kind of learn the ropes again, as well as a handful of new players, because apparently people are still signing up to play Eve for the first time. It's not just Light Force. Like there are other people out there that are like, oh, Eve looks like a lot of fun, even though it's been out since before World of Warcraft. But I guess, WoW's still around, and people still play RuneScape, so why wouldn't they still be like trying Eve for the first time? I suppose it makes sense. There aren't many games like it. So if you're interested in some Eve content, pop on down to the Eden area, New Eden. Where are they at? New Eden over here. Nobody's running right now. Vecino typically runs West Coast time zone content, except on the weekends. So they're a little bit earlier. Sinish is usually on in East Coast time. And Taco is Central, but he tends a little bit more East Coast-ish. So if you're looking for some people to play with, thinking about getting back into it, feel free to pop over to the Discord and ask some questions, see what's going on. Also, Path of Exile. The league is starting to slow down, just in general. Like, that's kind of how PoE leagues go. But we still have a handful of people playing pretty seriously. I know Cat Poop is in the mid-90s at this point, level-wise. Galbator is still playing. Alundril is on his 4th character for the season or something like that. Alundril plays a lot of PoE. Taco is dabbling a little bit with it around what time he has after playing heaps of Eve. But if that is something you are interested in, we do have people there. We have a good knowledge base there. Cat Poop is incredibly informed on all things Path of Exile. He can definitely help you get set straight. Glorious Toast is another one of the guys that's still playing. So if you're looking for a group to check out the current PoE league with, we've got that as well. Feel free to hop down to the PoE channel, ask for Senior Cat Poop or Alundril, and they can get you hooked up. And lastly, the one I'm excited about, Princess Connect Redive. Brayden, you gonna play Gacha with us? We got a clan. We got clan battles this week.
Sure not.
It's a shame, man.
There's a bunch I don't think it's my kind of game.
It's not everybody's kind of game. I'm having a lot of fun with it. It's an interactive anime, basically. Actually, apparently the story that we're playing in the game is legitimately just like one for one the anime, because Alundril is playing in this as well, and he has actually seen the anime. And when he was going through the actual like story and stuff, he was like, "Oh, this is actually just the anime. Like we were just playing the anime." So that's kind of interesting. A whole lot of stuff happened. We just got there's actually a data mine just earlier today or yesterday. We just got a new banner, the Rin Focus banner, which also has count, which includes the 3 stars Makoto and Maho, 2 of the best 3 stars, as a rate up. So if you don't have those, it's a good time to pull. And we're also getting a double drop event at the moment for normal stages. Clan battles will start later this week. We're gonna see how that goes. We're hoping to place top 10,000 at least. I'd like to see top 7,000, but I don't think we have enough members to be competitive at top 7,000, because there's just some. I've seen some of the planning like diagrams that people have for their clans, and there's some intense clans. There's some people playing this game real hard or throwing heaps of money at it. I'm not sure which. We're definitely more there for the waifu collection and just like to have a nice pseudo AFK game to play. There's a lot of stuff coming. Very interested to see how accurate this data mine appears to be, because if it is, we'll know on the 16th how accurate this data mine was, and the 16th and 17th, if it ends up being accurate, then there's like a lot of good information there. But I don't want to sit there and spam misinformation if it's not accurate. But suffice it to say, a lot of cool stuff happening there. A lot of things to look forward to. Very, very hype. Very hype. Man. It's just gotcha. Good game. Man. What was I going to tell you? I had something I needed to tell you, and I forget what it was. Oh, the Terraria thing. Yeah. So you didn't see the Terraria thing that went down?
I did not see the Terraria thing that went down.
Oh, it's amazing. So basically what happened is the lead dev for Terraria, something happened with his Gmail account. He got locked out of it. So like thousands of dollars worth of stuff that he's like purchased through there, inaccessible. And he's been trying to get it back for like regain access for like 3 weeks or something like that. And he finally just like went on Twitter and was like, did like a 3-tweet post about how like it's BS that literally nobody's giving him anything other than like auto responses. He's lost access to all this other stuff, and he's like, you know what? Terraria is no longer coming to Stadia.
Woo.
Yeah. He literally just like, that's it. Terraria is not coming to Stadia now.
Is that like super official, or do you think that's just him posturing so that they friggin' let him back into his account?
Honestly,
and like prioritize it.
I mean, Terraria is on like everything else, and Stadia, I mean, they already closed their own development branch. I can't imagine that whatever contract Terraria had with Stadia was hugely profitable, and it's not like Stadia has a massive market share anyhow. So I would say, if this was like him like spitting in the eye of like Nintendo, for example, who would be putting, Terraria on the Switch, that I would be very surprised by. But given the market share that Stadia doesn't have, I think it's official. I think it's like quite real. I think he may actually be serious about it. It's like, nah, that's it. No Terraria for Google Stadia.
How hard could it be to port Terraria to another system?
I mean, to Stadia especially, like, I can't imagine there was much of anything that needed to be done.
Right, I mean, like, so are you really gonna not port? Like, even if you don't stand to make a ton of money, if you stand to make $8,000 or whatever that year, I mean, I can't imagine that he's gonna not do it because he can't get into his account. I mean, I'm interested to see how that plays out. One, whether or not he gets back to his account, and two, what happens from there. I would love to see what happens if we find out he gets back into his account, and then if he continues to say that he's not going to Stadia.
Oh no! Okay, here we go. I've got the tweets. Let me do. I went and dug them up. Boop. This good. There we go. Get out of here, thing. Let's pull up the tweets.
Tweets.
Yeah. At Google, my account has now been disabled for over 3 weeks. I still have no idea why. And after using every resource I have to get this resolved, you have done nothing but given me the runaround. My phone has lost access to thousands of dollars of apps on Google Play. I just bought Lord of the Rings 4K and can't finish it. My Google Drive's data is completely gone. I can't access my YouTube channel, and worst of all, losing my Gmail address for over 15 years. I absolutely have not done anything to violate your terms of service, so I cannot take this. Or I can take this no other way than you deciding to burn this bridge. Consider it burned. Terraria on Google Stadia is canceled. My company will no longer support any of your platforms moving forward.
Whew.
Yeah, he is big mad.
No kidding.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, I mean, Terraria is and the other games that studio has done have all been massively successful. So really, sure, yes, they're saying like, nah, no muns, but like considering how how much your Google account really like, because it's not just his email, like he said, like it's his Google Play account, his YouTube, like everything, and his Google
Yeah.
Drive. And like I don't have a lot of data on Google Drive, but if you were to be using that like cloud interface and storage, for both personal and or business, I
If
could.
I suddenly lost access to my Google Drive, that'd be a huge pain in the ass.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have a bunch of my, it's stored in like encrypted zip files, but like a bunch of my secure stuff. So like the backup for my one password vault and stuff like that
Mm,
is all on Google Drive. So if I lost access to Google Drive,
that'd be a
that would
massive
be like
inconvenience.
mega pain in the ass.
Yeah. Well, and imagine also like, I mean, I don't know how much further this will go, but like, could you imagine if it was not just you've lost access, but like they just delete the data for whatever reason? Because like I know when YouTube channels have been taken down in the past, for example, sometimes the data persists when the channel is restored, but other times people have lost like all of their videos. And considering that like some people upload the original like super high fidelity to YouTube, and then YouTube does
Yeah.
its compression crush down, but the actual full files still exist there on YouTube, like within like the cloud, even though it's not what plays for the audience because there's like a transcoded copy that's being
Yeah.
played. But like some people treat that as like the backup to their backup because they know at the very least all of my original video files still exist there. So I've seen,
Yeah.
or I've heard stories from previous the YouTube content creators who lost, all of their stuff, and through a series of unfortunate circumstances, don't have a backup other than what existed on YouTube. So like people losing dozens to hundreds of videos as a result of, an illegitimate YouTube takedown that cost them their
Yeah.
channel.
Yeah, it's tough because like it's a bit risky to do that, but you get why people do that because the initial videos are huge. The amount of hard, like if you're the kind of person that is pumping out like 2 videos a week, like the raw, if you're trying to get like the raw, near uncompressed version of that, in case you ever want to go back and edit it into like a compilation or something like
Mm-hmm.
that. If you want that, like that quality version of it, um, that would take up like you would need a ton of hard drive space,
Oh
like
yeah,
an absolute ton of it. So a lot of people just treat YouTube as their like storage for that.
yeah. I mean, there's a
And
reason
then it's
Linus Media
also
Group has that like gargantuan server, and they continually seem to be expanding every time they decide to put more Ks in their videos.
exactly. And then yeah, on top of that, a lot of people don't realize that I'll think, oh, I'm uploading a 1080p video to YouTube. YouTube videos play back at 8 megabits per second. So I need to export this video at 8 megabits per second and upload it to YouTube. It's like, no, YouTube does not play back your video that you upload. It re-encodes it and
Mm-hmm.
plays that back. So like the better quality video you upload, the better the re-encode of that video that people watch is going to be.
Yep.
Which is why you have like Linus, who, if you watch his videos, he uploads. He actually uploads them in 4K now, but I remember he used to take a 1080p video and upscale it to 4K and have it massive and upload it.
Just so that like hopefully less fidelity was lost when YouTube did its compression magic.
Yeah, less fidelity is lost, and that's another thing you can do is when you go on YouTube and you switch your videos to 4K, it's not necessarily the resolution that makes it look better, it's the higher bit rate.
Mm.
But yeah, that's that. Like it's a good way to go about doing that in terms of like it's great because YouTube basically is your storage. You're getting free tons of storage, but you certainly risk a lot if you care about those
Yeah.
videos.
Well, and like to your what you just said, talking about the heaps and tons of free storage. That's why I've heard this argument presented, and I buy it 100%. That's the reason there really isn't and probably cannot be a true like YouTube killer. Like there's regardless of how like scummy things that happen sometimes are on YouTube with illegitimate DMCA takedowns and stuff like that, and people arguing the constant dispute about what is and isn't fair use. There's no other company that exists that's going to give you that kind of product and storage for free the way YouTube does and give you a chance to make money off of it. Like it just doesn't exist. Vimeo. There's no way. Like Vimeo's not anywhere near big enough to handle the kind of traffic and data load that YouTube has. Just nothing.
It also doesn't. Yeah, it also doesn't provide the features that YouTube does. Like pretty much nowhere does. Even you look at YouTube's kind of shitty, but it's like if I want to stream videos or something like that, where else am I going to go? Like Twitch? I feel like Twitch is even shittier.
Yeah, and then like, and every other competitor seems to have just been like unsuccessful. Like nothing else has survived. Like besides Twitch and YouTube. Like Twitch originally was kind of the only option, like Twitch and Justin TV, but they were the same company, and then they shut down Justin TV, so they pushed them all over to Twitch, and then YouTube offered streaming, and then there's been others that have come and gone over the years, but you don't have those options. And I'll tell you this also in terms of the quality of experience streaming to YouTube versus Twitch. When you're a smaller channel like ours, we're getting we get transcoding on YouTube. We're not big enough to get transcoding on Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
So that alone is such a big quality of life because I can stream to YouTube at a much higher bit rate than I ever could to Twitch, because if I were to stream at any significant bit rate beyond maybe 3.5, then like good luck watching me across the country. Never mind, if one of the Canadians was tuning in, for example, because I'm all the way down in Houston. Like it would just it's night and day.
Yeah, really. And then not only that, Twitch has lower bit rates up. Like you're allowed to. I think theirs maxes out at 6 megabits per second or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But YouTube, it's literally like, you want to do a 4K stream at 25 megabits per second? You go ahead and do that. Like whatever you want. And then what happens like even for the bigger streams, if I'm watching something like watching esports, let's say, and I go and I'm like, oh, I have to go to the washroom, but I'm in the middle of this thing on Twitch, guess what? Screw you. Like it's going. And if you try to go away, it's like you missed the stream.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's your only option. There's no live. And the most annoying part is they record the VODs. Like they're recording it, but they don't buffer, they don't do anything like that, so you can't live pause.
Yeah. Yeah, actually I never even thought about that. I don't watch a ton of streams, but the streams I do watch typically these days are on YouTube. So I'll just I tend to just pull it up on my phone because the YouTube app on my phone is infinitely better than the Twitch app. The Twitch app on phone is just I mean, I don't have like the nicest, fanciest phone, but like I have a respectable smartphone. Like it should work better than it does, or than it feels like it does.
Twitch has always felt very clunky. Um, and yeah, I enjoy the use, and even little things like maybe I don't, want to pause while I go to the washroom. But what happens if I'm watching the, AMD press conference or something like that, and Lisa Su says something, I was like, wait, what's that? If you missed it on Twitch, you're out of fucking luck. You
Un-
have to go back to the VOD later and try and find that spot.
Or, you know, read the chat. Can you imagine the horror? Trying to like, in a big press conference, trying to read any chat with like for meaningful information other than just heaps of emojis.
Yeah.
Mm. No, I mean like I'm glad that I'm glad that there are people that like Twitch. And I mean I used to stream to Twitch. You used to stream on Twitch. Um, I'm glad that it's still there, and I'm glad that people like it, and I'm glad that it provides competition for YouTube. But I just don't feel like it's Twitch got to be where it was because there really weren't any other options, and now that there's other options, I guess I'm just kind of surprised that Twitch is still as big as it is.
Yeah. Well, I think like that's what kind of frustrates me about Twitch is not that it's not the perfect streaming platform. It's that they have the resources, right? And the only reason it's still surviving like it is because it got so big. And like if you want the audience, you basically have to go to Twitch. And Amazon is basically just sitting there going, shit, we don't have to do anything. We don't have to improve this platform. Like the platform hasn't changed in any meaningful way outside of monetization
Mm-hmm.
in the past like 10 years.
Yeah, I mean there's been some like facelifts to the UI, but yeah, I mean functionally and I guess really streaming caps used to be a little bit lower, but I mean they didn't go up that much, and it's nothing compared
No.
to what YouTube's infrastructure can handle. And I think that's really funny too that like not only is YouTube and Twitch like really the only two options now that what was it called? The one that Microsoft was behind.
Mixer?
Yeah, now that Mixer is officially like tits up, since you only basically have Twitch and YouTube as your streaming options outside of some small, I mean, borderline indie things that probably don't have. I mean, Mixer didn't have a huge audience, so I can't imagine any of the other smaller, more indie options have a significant audience or pull. So I guess you got Facebook
Yeah.
also. Like Facebook is a valid streaming option, but a lot of people, Facebook has like a bunch of stigma attached to it for better or for worse, and so some people are just very opposed to the idea. But its market share is also nothing compared to YouTube's and Twitch. Although I guess really
Yeah.
YouTube's is really, other than more recently, Twitch is still significantly larger market share than YouTube, despite being an
Yeah.
inferior platform. Feels bad.
And unless you have just massive amounts of resources, and I think Twitch versus YouTube like demonstrates it better than anything else. Unless you're a company that is in something else and just has vast amounts of resources and you really want to get into that market, like there's just no way to like, even if I have, $10 million and I'm a startup, like there's no way for me to build a streaming platform, because the only way that your streaming platform ever has any value is if it has an audience, and you can't start a streaming platform with a large audience.
Well,
That's
yeah.
not how it
Well,
works.
and that's a great example. Like, talking about like a company with money behind it. I mean, like, hell, other than Google and Amazon, Microsoft is another massive company with heaps of money who was behind Mixer. And even with all that money, they couldn't buy the audience. And even if they were just throwing money at contracts to like get streamer exclusivity to try and get some big names over there to try and build the audience that way. And even with, in my opinion, much better functionality than Twitch or YouTube offered. like just as a streaming platform in general. Like it was a pretty interesting uh, streaming platform, I thought, and there was a lot of
Yeah,
good functionality there. But they couldn't pull it, and they don't have Microsoft. Unlike Google, Microsoft is not known to sustain things that are not profitable. Whereas like Google, like is YouTube making money? No, it's never made money. They've never turned a profit on YouTube, but they're happy to like keep doing it regardless.
yeah. And I think that you look at something, I think even you look at YouTube, who has, if you look at the number of platform users,
Mm-hmm.
has way more than Twitch.
Oh yeah.
Like, way more than Twitch. But it shows you not even like um an audience so very similar. You have people that watch videos that have been uploaded and people that watch videos that are streamed. And
Mm-hmm.
you have a market like YouTube can't even move into the streaming with the market they already have compared to Twitch because Twitch has the bigger audience. So it's like you have a superior platform, you already have a massive user base, and you still struggle to, and basically unlimited resources, and you still struggle
Yeah,
to move into that market.
because the synchronous audience is over on Twitch and the asynchronous audience is, what YouTube's the overwhelming majority of YouTube users is. I mean, like
Exactly.
there is like some streaming success happening over here, like offline TV, and some of the people that they stream with as well, like Valkyrie and stuff like that. Like there are streamers that do well on YouTube, and I mean the VTubing scene is, I would say, bigger on YouTube than it is on Twitch. At least like the corporatized, like the bigger companies are much more prevalent on YouTube. And there's a lot of indie uh, VTubers on YouTube, but there's also heaps of indie VTubers on Twitch as well. So like even that, which is a new-ish, I mean like sure it goes back to Kisana Eye, but like it's a new-ish in terms of like taking hold of a large audience. Even that's not centered on any one platform. Like maybe if YouTube had really cornered the VTubing market, maybe they could have seen more growth in respect as a streaming platform, or faster growth, I guess, as a streaming platform. But they are also like, for what YouTube does right, there are other things that seem to be like, even though Twitch has its issues, since they're like they have like the bit system and they're constantly doing game related giveaways through like Amazon Prime type stuff, because you have all the different games or like giveaways within the game. They partner with a bunch of other gaming companies or developers in order to bring exclusive rewards out for stuff like that. I think that's probably, if YouTube could find a way to do those kind of things as well, I think that would help them get more. If they felt like they were putting more emphasis and focus on the streaming side of the platform, I bet they could grow it. But considering that YouTube is already a not profitable entity as part of like Alphabet, I can't imagine that there's a huge push to make drastic, massive improvements either.
For more users so they can lose more money.
Exactly. I mean, they're making 30%, or allegedly they make 30% off of any super chats on any of the streams. So, like on anybody who's streaming it here. So, like when Linus did that, what was it? Oh, when he did like he'll match dollar for dollar up to a threshold to buy GME. He did that a couple weeks ago. YouTube took, assuming that that's actually what they take. YouTube took 30% of that. They make money from that, but it doesn't make up for the cost of storage and the cost of all the servers and the data and such.
Yeah. I've also been recently shocked at how expensive cloud storage is.
Yeah, I I forget what it
It's
was.
like for 8 terabytes, it's $80 a month
Woo, on
for
what
an eight.
service? On what service? Is that Dropbox?
No, that's Google, and it's like the cheapest of them.
Oh wow, that's a lot.
It's yeah, it's I think it's like a cent a gigabyte or something like that, which sounds like not very much, but it when you think of it in terms of that, it's like $80 a month for an 8 terabytes. It's like, well, shit,
You could just not spend
eighty
that money
dollars.
for a year and build yourself a massive file server.
Yeah, 80 times 12 is $960. It's
Oh,
like
you could.
a year. It's like I can go out and buy an 8 terabyte hard drive for, you know, a hundred and you know, what did I get mine for? $170 Canadian.
Yeah, like oh, so is that 80? Is that 80 Canadian a month?
I don't know. I don't think it is.
Okay, so like let's say it's 960 US or over the course of a year, right? Let's just say assume that it's US dollars. So like 960, so an 8 terabyte hard drive, a cheap keyboard and mouse because it's just gonna be a file server, cheap monitor because it's just a file server, Mobo, CPU, RAM. None of those have to be super crazy because again, it's just a file server. Now you could build your own file server and
Yeah, I'm
just upgrade your internet connection one notch from whatever it is and save money.
I'm looking online here, and I see an 8 terabyte external hard drive for $134. So how many of those could I buy? It's like you can say how much does it cost to build like a media server or whatever, but realistically, every human already has a computer.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to
So it's
think
like,
in terms of I'm trying to think in terms of like you're also paying for that data to be accessible elsewhere. Like that's part of the benefit of cloud storage is like you can access that data besides just like at your home. But then again, how many people truly need to access that data other than at their like primary computer? Like I don't need to go to work and like access my like game related stuff on my work computer from the cloud.
yeah,
So like cloud storage at that point is literally I'm paying somebody to maintain hardware for me that I can store my stuff on, and I will be able to, as long as the service is not having an outage, I'll be able to access that data, and I'll be throttled based on my internet or the connection that I'm currently getting to that data center instead of just
yeah, I
having
mean,
having hard drives in my computer instead.
yeah. And like realistically, if you have shit internet at home, then guess what?
You're not
Like
uploading eight
you're gonna have
terabytes
a
of
shit.
data.
Yeah, you're gonna have a shit connection to the Google servers anyways. And I'm looking here. I see a two-bay NAS for one for $150, one for $170. So that's what 170 plus 135. Okay, so I can
You're
basically recreate
305.
what I would get with Google for $305, and it's gonna last me 10 years. Like,
I mean, all by our math, it only has to last 4 months to break even.
yeah, really. So, I mean, okay, let's be fair here,
Okay.
and let's say because even the one thing that you're not going to get if you just have like a two bay NAS with like a RAID 0 or something in it, you're not going to get the security. So let's say I'm going to buy. We have 305 times 2, so that's still $610.
Redundancy. 100%
Exactly,
redundancy.
100%
Still,
redundancy.
still only what 9-ish months.
Exactly. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, this doesn't even make sense. How expensive this is.
I mean, that's the same. So, like, I don't know how it is. I know Canada's internet situation is not amazing. Or at least that's what I've heard. Like, y'all pay.
It depends where you live.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and especially because y'all are way more spread out than we are. But I could
Yeah,
imagine.
that's the infrastructure is the big challenge in Canada.
Mhm.
Is that like for it's probably the best around where I live because southwestern Ontario is probably like the most population dense.
Mm-hmm.
You have several cities uh, of 400,000 plus within 200 miles of each other.
Yeah. But like, so we
But I
have. I say, do you
okay.
guys get data caps up there also? Because I know
Well,
some countries in the EU have data cap shenanigans, and most plans down here, especially cable plans, seem to have data caps.
yeah, nothing. We don't get that where I am. It's basically every single plan is just unlimited. Uh, and for comparison, I'm paying 80 Canadian rupees a month um, for gigabit down,
Mm. Yeah, I'm paying.
and it would be about 120 a month because that's gigabit down but 30 up, and I think it was like 120 a month for gigabit down, gigabit up.
Mm, yeah, I'm paying about 80 freedom dollars for gig up down right now, but I also similar to you, I'm living in like a much a much more population dense area. Like the internet package that I have and the price that I'm paying is very atypical. I used to be paying prior to this like being available where I live. I was paying 120 a month for like 125 down and 20 up, something like that. That is bad. It was rough, and that was the best internet I could get at my address.
Yeah, brutal.
Oh,
I
and
still don't know
it
how.
had a data cap, by the way. It also had a data cap.
Oof.
Yeah, like which is like, why? Stupid.
You don't even worry about me using a lot of data. I physically cannot.
Yeah, exactly. Especially uploading. Like, I remember the misery of trying to find a good breakpoint for my upload speed on that internet connection, so that when I was streaming, so I had to make sure I left enough headroom for the game. Plus, uh, if the wife was playing games herself or if she was watching something, I had to make sure that I wasn't taking like all of the data or setting the thresholds up so high that if she were to start doing something, it would cause issues for what I was doing. Such a pain.
Yeah, I have no idea how. When I was in university, there was one, two, three. There was five of us living in a house,
Mm-hmm.
all heavy like gamers, internet users, and we were sharing a 5 megabit connection.
Ooh, man.
Yeah, it was brutal. I would want to like download and watch a show, but John and his girlfriend Amber were playing WoW, and if I was downloading it anything over like 300 or like 300 kilobytes a second, they would start to complain, and we would get in like what is it, QoS wars,
Oh
where
yeah.
we'd be logging to the router and changing their rules. It was amazing.
Oh man. I actually, it's funny you said that. This is the first internet connection I've had where I've not felt like I needed to set QoS up on my router. It's been so nice. I remember the first apartment that the wife and I lived in, we were paying 100 a month for 10 down, 1 up. And before that in the barracks, I was paying 50 a month for 1 down and like I think it was yeah, I think it was only like 1 down and like 0.5 up. It was awful. And that was cable, by the way.
That's brutal.
Like 50 or 60 US a month for a cable internet that didn't even perform as well as DSL. But because I was living on post in the barracks, we didn't have those options, like any options. You basically could do that or you could do 56K dial-up because you couldn't even do DSL. It was awful.
Yeah.
The absolute worst.
Yeah, I'm looking here now, and it's 120 a month for gigabit down and 750 up, and then it's $110 a month for 500 down, 500 up, and then it's 130 for 1.5 down, 940 up.
Hmm.
So Lean, like I feel like I would want to go with 500 because like I don't need more than 500 down
Mm-hmm.
and 500 up. I use that. My biggest frustration with my last plan was I only had 30 up.
Yeah.
And I would definitely rather have 500 down, 500 up than 1,000 down, 30 up. That's for sure. Then
Yeah,
it's only
for
$20
sure.
more a month, and you get like stupid internet.
Mm-hmm.
1.5 down, 940 up. That's insane.
Yeah, that's pretty spicy
Like I don't know
actually.
what I would, but I don't know what I'd ever need that much upload for.
I mean, uploading the 8K videos that you shot, obviously, with your red
Yeah,
camera
really.
that you totally have. Dude, think of the
No,
fidelity on your work Zoom calls. Imagine.
off, off.
Huh.
Linus is upgraded to 12K now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah, 8K two shit.
To what end? You know what? I don't because he can make a video about it and pay for most, if not all, of the costs.
That's exactly it.
Yeah,
Because why the fuck not?
yeah. I mean, that's true.
It
If I could somehow buy ridiculous hardware and monetize it so well that I just the cost like doing a video talking about the ridiculous hardware that I bought would pay for the hardware, then like it just means that I've loaned my money for, a little while until I can upload the video and get all my money back. And then I have just
yeah,
superior equipment for my future production, whatever that might
yeah.
be.
The two best people I've seen at that are Linus, and Peter McKinnon, who is in like cameras photography.
Mm-hmm.
He basically like think about it, you're making videos and taking photos, and you're making videos about you making videos.
It's the ultimate meta content.
Exactly. The
Amazing.
content is the content. Making the content is the content.
I mean, if you can make it work, if you can find a way to swing it, why not?
Yeah.
Uh,
Jesus. The
mhm.
time has flown.
Holy crap! It's already 10 till. Goodness gracious! Hi, Vecino. By the way, I see you're muted. I assume that you're unable to speak because fam or something, or maybe you just wanted to be quiet and hang out. If that's the case, that's okay.
Can we talk for a second about the thing that I posted in Gear?
What did you post in
AMD.
here? Oh yeah,
AMD
yeah,
is
yeah.
releasing their Fidelity FX.
Mm-hmm.
I I have no idea what to expect in terms of its comparison because I feel like NVIDIA, like DLSS, is something that they've been working on for a while, and it's been like their brainchild, something they want to do, and AMD's has felt very reactionary.
Yeah.
So I really wonder how good it could be. But then it got me thinking about, because I saw an article about Apple potentially making some, I think it was like dual 8K VR headset. So like the panels are dual 8K. And I got to think, but they're apparently going to do it like foveated rendering somehow.
Mm-hmm.
And that got me thinking. I wonder if DLSS, that type of technology, could have a significant impact on VR.
I mean,
Right? Because that's always been the challenge, is not that they can't put high res, right? You look at phone screens, they're like 4K screens.
right.
Like the challenge has not been getting those screens in small form factor. It's been that no computers can actually run things at those resolutions.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can have tiny 8K screens, or even tiny 4K screens, I don't see why with something like DLSS and a 3070, a 3080, that couldn't be completely viable, because VR games are not very graphically demanding in and of themselves. So I could easily see, even the lower end cards that are coming out now hitting that 90 FPS
Yeah, that's true.
at those resolutions.
I didn't think about that. That's
Because that's really what's like always bothered me about a lot of the VR applications, and a lot of the things that I'd want to use it for is just like the resolution is just not high enough
yeah.
for screens that close to your face.
Yeah, that was my biggest like sadness when I got my Vive. And I love my Vive. Like I've had a lot of fun on it. Payday 2 in particular was such a solid VR game implementation. But I mean, Payday 2 is not the most graphically high fidelity graphics game either. It's been out for how many years now? Like a decade. But trying to read text because of the DPI of those screens, it's just, you really have to blow text up quite a bit for it to be legible, like easily legible. Like you can make it out if it's a little bit smaller. And I really wanted to be able to use it for, my dream use case was like when I'm just like derping around doing stuff on the internet or whatever. I could have a Discord window floating off to one side. I can have just walls of pages open if I wanted to, tons of different things going, and be able to just read that and stuff. But I couldn't even read most web pages. Good luck when you even with the like the big screen virtual desktop type stuff. Like desktop is just like it's almost illegible. I had to bring the virtual monitor so close to my face to be able to make anything out.
Yeah, I think that would be a huge application for them. And then I think it was Zarek getting excited about like Microsoft Flight Simulator
Mm-hmm.
and VR support. And it's like, I don't know, I don't feel like that would be, as of right now, that great an experience. It's like
you'd have to turn those settings down.
You'd have to turn the settings down, but you'd also, it's like I'm flying, 2 kilometers in the air or something like that, looking down at these tiny things in the ground. It's like you're not seeing any details there.
No, you're gonna.
Right?
There'd be a handful of pixels.
Yeah, it's like, oh, look at that pixel. I think that's the Eiffel Tower. Like, I don't know that would be that great experience. But I think if you could get like exploring the world in a plane, if you could get high resolution VR, I think would be incredibly awesome.
Mm.
Especially now, it's like going and exploring other parts of the world and other planets. And there was one application that I don't think I ever downloaded, but I wanted to check out, and it was like Magic School Bus style. Like you go into the human body and see stuff. I'm like, that would be very cool.
Like an on rails type thing where you just you look around based on like where it's got you.
I don't know exactly how it works, but you know the Magic School Bus.
Yeah.
They go smaller, go into the body, and then you can see like the blood cells, and you can see different parts. I think it's just like a guided thing that shows you stuff. But I thought that'd be cool.
Yeah, that'd be a pretty interesting thing. Those kind of, I like the idea of virtual reality enabling things that are not reasonably accessible. Things like being shrunk down and sent through a human body. Like if you can do a good rendering of that, that'd be super cool. Or like
they mapped out Mars. They have one for like Everest.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
like, you know what?
I will literally never see the top of Everest.
Yeah, being real with you, I have no interest in going up Everest. But if it's in virtual reality, it'd be cool to see what that looks like.
Yeah, well, and there's obviously a market for virtual tourism. I mean, look at the more recent Assassin's Creed games, and like what a controversy that has caused in some instances with just the the accuracy of representation in those, because the newer games you can actually go and do like virtual tours through, the historic areas basically. And there's like, I think was it Egypt? Somebody was super grumpy about it because they were worried it was going to hurt tourism. And I'm sitting here thinking like, I'm not like, speaking of Everest specifically, like I'm never going to ascend Everest, but it'd be really cool to, virtually with 360 camera shots ascend Everest that way and just like check it out. It'd be cool as hell.
I don't think that these two things are like mutually exclusive. If anything, like one of the reasons Greece is one of the places that I want to go is because of Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, and that's a great point as well that I think was lost on. And like I said, I don't remember for sure which country was like super salty about it. But yeah, I would think that it would only enhance tourism there. And really, I think it provides an opportunity for tourism boards to partner with these kind of software developments in order to produce better quality virtual tours. Get your hands involved in there. Maybe there's some sort of agreement worked out financially for their assistance in accessing specific sites with the appropriate equipment to capture the experience. Maybe the country gets a bit of a kickback on some super small percent of sales or something like that. Like it could be because like any of those type of things, like with Everest specifically, like I'm never gonna ascend Everest, but like if that was available and if there was some kind of deal worked out with the developer where they got a small kickback if I bought the DLC to ascend Everest, then like cool, that country just made money that they otherwise would never have made because I'm never going to go there and ascend Everest. You're never going to get my tourism money because I physically am not capable of ascending Everest, and I have no interest in it, doing it personally.
Yeah, I don't know who these people are that they're talking about. As far as like, you know what, I was going to spend thousands of dollars to travel here, but then I walked around in a video game, and now I'm not going to go there because I saw it in the video game. Well, it's not like I can understand maybe the argument when it came to like virtual reality or something like that, but even still, that's not the same. But like maybe there's a bit more of an argument there if virtuality got really, really, really good or something like that.
Right.
But yeah, it's like there's no way I'm not gonna be going to a place and then not go to a place because I saw it in a game.
Mm-hmm.
That's not something that would happen.
Yeah, I think I wholeheartedly agree. I would be more inclined to go visit a place if I had a positive, virtual experience like that. I'd be more inclined to visit as opposed to less inclined.
Yeah.
Oh man. Oh, hey, it is 10 o'clock your time, 9 o'clock Central, 7 o'clock in Vecino Land. That's gonna have to do it for Strats Weekly this week. We got to get out of here. I got to go make sure I don't have anything to do before class tomorrow. Braden's got to go to bed because he's got work. Thanks for coming to hang out, Vecino. Thanks everybody out there in YouTube channels who watches this after the fact or just didn't speak. We'll catch you guys around.
Okay, bye.
Bye.